Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me introduce myself. My name is Akhtaruddin. I'm a PhD candidate at the Moscow State University of Psychology and Education. Today's presentation is about individual differences of students studying in distance education. Uh, as we know, for the last 2 decades, the concept of education has been changed dramatically. More specifically, the distance education has emerged not only as a reliable alternative to traditional education, but also a unique integrated system where students can actively participate, create, and share in the education process without being physically present at the school, university, or any other educational institutions. As information is becoming accessible for free or with minimal cost for people across the globe, the traditional concept of institution as a knowledge hub has been facing a major challenge from pedagogical and psychological aspects. In a recent presentation, Stephen Downes, a leading scholar in the field of distance education and a proponent of MOOC, that is massively open online courses, mentioned that teachers are no longer considered as the only source of knowledge, and learning is no longer about content transfer, and teaching takes place in an authentic environment, and the learning engagement, experiment, and communication. Moreover, education is getting out of the classroom and into the community where it belongs. And we know that in the age of information and communication technology, people can access, process, and share information on the move with the help of mobile devices, which are becoming affordable and are usually connected to the global network. And the 21st century learners are no longer considered as a mere receiver of knowledge from their teachers. They are active users of the World Wide Web, creator of their own content, and evaluator of the fellow course participants. The new dynamics of the Web 2, which is defined as including social networking sites, that is Facebook, Twitter, video sharing sites, blogs, wikis, online games, virtual worlds, e-portfolios, and mobile applications, has empowered learners to create contents, share with and receive comments from teachers and fellow course participants, and publish online. New education technologies like blogs, wikis, webquest, podcast, videocast have, and on the other hand, it has imposed immense challenge for educators. If we look at the next slide, we can see that the figures tell us the story about the present situation and the dynamics of distance education in the United States, and we can see that in 2011, 6.7 million students were taking at least one online course, and it constitutes 32%. It shows that increased in terms of distance education, and the growth rate is 10%, and 65% considered that distance education is a critical factor for the institute. Look at the situation in Russia. Distance education at present, there are more than 3 million distance learners in various Russian institutions. At present, there are more than 1,046 institutions all over Russia, and 1/3 of the institutions are actually located in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Moreover, 45% distance learners are enrolled in state-owned institutions, and 79% of distance learners are in the private institutions. The distance education is an emerging trend, and especially psychopedagogical issues of distance education need more detailed investigation. Moore and Kersley in 1996 argued that the concept of distance shouldn't refer to physical separation of teachers and learners alone, but rather to the pedagogical distance between different understandings and perceptions. Thus, transactional distance refers to psychological separation or gap in understanding, and psychological separation or gap in understanding and meaning. Certainly, physical distance increases the transactional distance a learner experiences because transactional distance a learner experiences because some form of technical media must be used to mediate the communication between the teacher and the learner. We may have outdistanced the geographic distance, but we still have much work to do with respect to the transactional distance. Under this background, the influence of psychological factors in distance education needs a thorough investigation, and psychopedagogical issues must be taken into consideration. So we have undertaken an extensive research project with the help of distance education faculty at the Moscow State University of Psychology and Education. As we can see, the objectives of the study to conduct an extensive literature review on, to understand the importance of IDs, to explore the relationship between IDs and the DE, and to recommend an effective DE design by considering psychopedagogical issues. As we know that individual differences are very frequently cited in psychological, especially cognitive psychology research. So the concept of individual differences, that is temperament, character, personality, style, have intrigued, challenged and motivated many educators for centuries now. And Allport defines individual differences as an individual's habitual or typical way of perceiving, remembering, thinking and problem solving. In our own way, we can define individual differences that can be the differences among individuals that differentiate or separate them from one another and makes one as a single unique entity. These differences may be in cognitive styles, motivation, locus of control, self-regulation, abilities, attitudes, intelligence, personality, and mood. The research methodology that we have used in our research included self-actualization test, style of self-regulated behavior to understand the self-regulation of students, locus of control. These tests actually modified version of the rotor. We know that the locus of control plays a significant role in distance education. Motivation for success and failure by Ryan, and academic motivation to identify how distance learners are academically motivated. And moreover, we used extensive questionnaire design to measure various aspects of personal development in distance education by the distance education faculty of Moscow State University of Psychology and Education. Now we are going to look at some initial research findings and try to make our conclusion on that. The self-actualization and distance education. Human being has several needs, and according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the highest level of human's need is a self-actualization. Online education has brought more affordable chances for personal and professional development to help people actualize themselves. The effectiveness of this type of education is seen from its feature that is content-based, which gives more room for knowledge and skills elaboration in the specific area of interest. Distance education, which is simultaneously facilitates the learner independence and control. Maslow's self-actualization hierarchy, and this is which is expressed completely in results obtained in our hours called the time orientation and the support. This indicates that the students studied sufficiently well, oriented with time, they're emotionally stable, objectively perceive reality. This allows them to live in the present but in cohesion with the past and the future. Also to set realistic goals. A sense of productivity and understanding of the past makes a sense of the future. An efficient perception of reality contributes to the high performance. Students will learn for the sake of knowledge, solve complex tasks, and that require creativity as long as a long-term programs, for example, employment or prestigious job, directly related to the current activities, acquisition of knowledge, completion of education, and etc. So there is a little significant difference in terms of time and support. But in some other scales, we can see that as the students getting more experience and working with distance education system, this help their develop self-actualization process. Even though it is difficult to estimate the self-actualization in the stage of this life, at this stage of a person's life, but it gives us a scenario where we can say that distance learners are moving towards their ultimate goal of self-actualization, to realize their potential to be a person that he or she wants to be. The second point is the self-regulation and distance learners. Self-regulation refers to the self's capacity to alter its behavior. Self-regulation can be a complex of acquired intentional skills involved in controlling, directing, planning one's cognitions, emotions, behavior. To be successful in highly autonomous online learning situations, students may require well-developed self-regulated learning skills to guide their cognition and behavior. Online learning, as we know, its unique characteristics of lack of face-to-face communication and time flexibility in asynchronous online activities places many responsibilities on the learners, including identifying learning resources, articulating learning strategies, overcoming procrastination. Those responsibilities are closely associated with individual self-regulation skills. The e-learning environment should be adaptive in order to foster students' self-regulation in open-ended learning environments, and be designed to focus on learners' diversity in terms of learning styles, prior knowledge, culture, and self-regulation. If we look at the highest rates of indicators are obtained by the following scales: the self-regulation, flexibility, modeling, and programming. Students with high levels of flexibility show the flexibility of regulatory process. In unforeseen circumstances, such a person can easily reconstruct plans and performing actions and behavior. They're able to quickly assess the condition of significant change and restructure the accepted view to timely evaluate the fact of the error and make the necessary correction. The highest indicator on a scale of programming says that formation of a student needs to think up how their actions and behaviors in order to achieve goals. The detailed and the developed programs of expansion. The programs are developed independently and changed flexibly in the new circumstances and are resistant to interference. If there are inconsistent results, it sets the alternative action program in order to obtain an acceptable result for that person. As we can see in the locus of control, individuals' belief about the control of their life is an important factor for learning and development, and online learning fundamentally transfers the locus of control from the facilitator to the learner. Students with internal locus of control seem to be more successful in online environment. Locus of control scores tend to change over the course of a semester, moving as a stronger internal scores by the end of the course, and this indicates in our result, as we can see from the table. If we look at the next slide, we can see that the achievement motivation and distance education. Achievement motivation, which can be defined as an individual's need to meet realistic goals, receive feedback, and experience as a sense of accomplishment. Motivation as it relates to students is very important. Students usually who have high motivation to achieve generally do well academically. Students with low motivation do not do well academically. And students with the high levels of perceived intrinsic benefits were more likely to persist in the online program. Online courses require not only typical academic skills but also require a level of mastery of technical skills and students' beliefs that can really influence in the achievement motivation. The next slide is about the academic motivation. The academic motivation is as defined as the academic drive, attitudes towards school or institution and learning, and finally enthusiasm for academic achievement. Strong academic motivation is decisive for success, is confirmed by experiences in many different contexts. Feelings of rapport with the tutors, counselors, and the supporting organization generally strengthen and support study motivation as well as promote the study pleasure in online learning. Learners who have a high confidence in their ability to perform certain academic tasks tend to use more cognitive and metacognitive strategies and show higher task persistence than those who have lower confidence levels. And this is evident from our analysis and the result that it shows that as learners in distance educations show lower avoidance motive and cooperation of the faculty of distance education. We have carried out extensive questionnaire among the students in the faculty of distance education on the question of how distance education promote personal development. How do they think distance education has influenced the development of their personal potential? 70% of the students surveyed responded influenced significantly, and only 12.5% said they influenced slightly, which indicates that distance education has an influence on personal development. On the question of how distance education promotes learner autonomy, 40% of students responded that it has contributed sufficiently, 23.8% said that significantly. And finally, we can conclude that distance learners are different from traditional learners. It is really important to consider their individual differences in educational process, content development, pedagogical and instructional design in order to optimize learning experience. We can conclude that distance education can accommodate different learning styles of learners, increase self-efficacy and develops internality, develop learner autonomy and supports personality development. Moreover, helps to realize potential and become more self-actualized person. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you very much.